Hello and welcome to stage 4 of the 3R Tour of Mann Racing Series. Today we are taking on the Tour of the North, 32.6k, 598 meters of elevation. And my name is Matt Luca and I'll be talking you through the stage. And here we see the GC standings after 3 great events. We started first with an individual time trial, then followed by a quick crit course around the capital of Douglas before we went to the Southern 100 last week. And here are the standings. So it's all pretty close there. You can see the top 6 there separated by a minute and 35 seconds. And then if we look back, Hans and Roy very close. And then Herrera and Helvig all very close as well. So if all 10 are in the pen today, it's going to be a very close one, because this course really opens up for a lot of shifting in the pack here. So it's going to be very interesting to see where these climbers going. So we start there at Sandygate. We keep very flat for about the first 5 or so k before we go up and do a lot of climbing. As you can see there up on the top left, that goes up for about 3k, hitting I think it does top out near the 20%ers before we kind of a little respite before dropping down back into the valley. I don't think that graphic does it just quite justice on how steep it is when you come back out for another 3k. When you get to the top, you're dragging on along for another another 5k, get about 6k descending, and then there's a nice little 700 meter sting in the tail with a sprint to the finish. So it's got a bit of something for everyone. You've got the start and flat. Will people use that as a warm-up, knowing what's coming up, or will some people who may not be as good on the climbs want to get some distance and use the flat to stay away? So you can see there that red graphic of how much they've got ahead of them. So when they see that, they might be thinking, well, maybe I might rest a little if you're good at climbing. Other guys who may know they're going to lose time might want to try and get out ahead. However, once you are up at the top of let's say all our climbing, there's still a lot of road to the finish. So if you can limit your time, then, you know, if you can get up the top with a couple of people with one person up ahead, who's to say those two don't form an alliance, work together, see who you can find around you, 2 up, 3 up, whatever you can in a group, and use that to your advantage to catch anyone up ahead. So although this is classed as our big climbing course, because it will certainly be the place where everything splits up, there's still some flats and other parts here which might make some riders a little more tactical, where they might want to save and where they might want to go. As I said, those TT riders get themselves up and there's a lot of road before the finish, so it'll be very interesting how everyone wants to play this. From having a quick look over the pen before we dropped in, I saw a lot of our top 10 in here, so I'm hoping all of them have come for the 4th and final stage. And we can see, I think that's our leader on the far right, Jan. I've seen Vesper, I've seen I've not seen Doug Hart actually. I hope he is in here. I did see him scoping out the course a couple of days ago, which someone tagged me in that he was scoping out, and I think he said he might be washing his hair tonight. So I hope that didn't scare him off having a go at it, and he is in here because he's been a great addition so far. So I'm going to keep scoping out to see his name. And I think I've seen Stimpson, Lambert, Roy Neal's in here. So again, and there's Helvig there, who's currently sitting in 10th, and he'll be wanting to make sure he puts some time into Herrera. So we are 1.1k in, and as I said, it's 0 meters climbed because it has been. It's going to be very similar like this for the next 5k. It's nice and flat. Everyone knows what's coming up ahead. I expect the climbers just to be happy and sit in. If Doug Hart is here, we'll probably see him come through the front at some point, trying to get off front and give it a go as usual. But because I haven't seen his name yet, and I say we have been going for a few minutes, unfortunately I don't think he might be in tonight, which is a real shame, as Olsen As I said, he's must be wanting to be one of those ones attacking. He knows he has time to make up here. Although he's got about 40 seconds over Roy, he's got about 6 minutes to catch Tom Gates in 6th. So, like that, although there's people all around, and there's quite a few new guys in here, so have riders ask their friends to get in, ask them to help them out here. You might see it, and as we see Soderbergh hitting the front, giving a good wave. He's an OTR rider, same as Roy there. Has Roy whipped up some troops there, because I can see another OTR and Walker, and that's great. I say you can call on your friends, get them in, and that's absolutely what you want to do when you've been in a GC series and it's not closed off. Absolutely, that's the point in it. Get some friends in, get some wheels, and see what happens. So, are these OTR riders going to be trying to get some of the other top GC riders to burn some matches? Because that's what you want. These guys are hopefully and likely in for their teammates, and that's what they want to do. Try and make the other top 10 GC chase them down, tie those legs before we hit that climb. And as you can see here, it's a group of about hopefully 4 that can stick together, who just unfortunately haven't been able to keep up with the pace. I say it is very hard once you do lose that wheel and therefore that draft effect, especially when you've got what would be about 20 or so riders on the flat going forward. When you lose that, and there he is, Hurst, with his Buffalo bike as always, same as what we saw him on last week, and he's brought it out for the climbs, thankfully. And I'm hoping is the case with this one. These liveries, however you want to call it, the look on the bikes, they actually don't take into account all bikes are the same, so it's just a cosmetic skin, rather than for a climbing course like this you would not be wanting to take up a Buffalo bike up there compared to some of these nice lighter ones in real life. But that's the good thing, there's no worrying about, if we're comparing, no worrying about levels, doesn't matter. You can put any kit on, obviously you put your team on, helmets, everything you want, make yourself look as nice as you fancy, and it doesn't really matter, it's just to make yourself look good. Okay, so we are now 3.2 in, and I think that we were about 20 riders in, as Soderbergh is hitting red numbers again. I think that's what he's here for. So yeah, we've got 19 riders there, as Colzer is doing his best just to stay on and not let that pack go, as I said. If you lose that, then it could be an early bath, especially as we are 3.5k in with 29k to go and a lot of climbing. What you want to do is just sit in with these wheels, and that's what I think Soderbergh is doing. He's hoping that some rivals of Roy will hopefully kind of take the bait, waste a match or so. And I think that's calls are gone. I think I'd like to see him keep going. Don't throw in the towel too early and 5 minutes in. Maybe wait for the guys coming, but we'll see. Because that could, as I said, that could be him on the early bath tonight. Okay. Oh, there we go. Good man, calls it. That may have unfortunately then been, if he's gone straight to 0, it could be the plague of a dropout. Hopefully he'll be able to pick back up as Damon shows us exactly what's going on from different angles. So you've got Colzer there, who, if he's thinking about it, just sit up. You've got these 2 guys behind, Arthur and Hurst. Absolutely will be in his best interest to sit with them, work with them, and then maybe see what he can do on the climb against them. As Soderbergh still on the front, still tapping out into the reds, and it doesn't look like anyone's biting. And they're keeping him really, what's that, 50 meters? It's not anything to worry about really at this sort of stage. That's why that pack of 18, well, it'll be 17 now, are looking at each other, thinking who's going to do the work to bring them back. If that gets too far, as it is now starting to increase, Soderbergh's still putting a bit of effort in there. We're now hitting up to 70s towards 80s, so if he keeps putting the pressure on, it looks like not a lot of riders are interested in taking this on. Okay, so yeah, we can see there on the right hand side the live leaderboard, these guys a lot, and you can see there they're all power bars are all in the light blues. As we know, if you're in light blue, that means you are very much spinning nice and easy. As you then work your way up into the greens, you're putting a bit of effort in. When we see yellows to orange, yep, you are definitely putting the power through the wheels. And then red is you are really going for it, either sprinting or you are definitely over your FTP in an effort to either bridge, attack. As we go back and see Dusan, Hurst, and it looks like these guys are catching. Been working together here because Arthur's now took Dusan, and there's Colza up there with another friend. So it looks like if these guys get organised, we could have a little chase group here, work together, get yourselves to the hill, and then it's going to be every man for himself up to the top. And that's it, as they all realise, best thing is make a little group. There's no point attacking each other right now. Start through and often. And yeah, it's always in your best interest to finish a little higher because you don't want to be in no man's land this early. And I'm sure that's what these guys will do, is make a little group and carry on. At the front here, have we still got Soda? Yep, so the live leaderboard on the right tells us Soderbergh must still be up the road somewhere. And the fact is we can't actually see him as we scan round, so he must be making a good distance. There he is, off around the corner. Again, when you see the pack spread out across the full road like that, that's telling you no one is really putting in any impetus. Everyone's just kind of rolling through till the natural draft hits you, and then you're just easing as people roll back. So yeah, there's 150 meters we are now. As you see Lindquist there, looks like he's going into the red a little. Whether that's, nope, it just looks like he's just taking the front. So when the group gets pointy, it means someone is putting a bit of effort in, which is stretching that pack and therefore making everyone get on the wheels as you naturally would to save the energy. As the pack spreads out across the road, that's telling you that they are taking it easy and just naturally letting it roll through. As we see the numbers here, all 2s and 3s. So for the caliber of riders in here at the minute, that is definitely that they are just taking it easy. The guys in the GC know full well that Soderbergh isn't a threat. As we see another OTR rider here, I say hopefully in with Roy to try and help him, whether that's the tactic, send Soderbergh up to see if someone will respond, whereas Walker is there just to kind of help Roy in the pack. So we'll see what tactics go on there with the OTR side of things anyway. Because at the minute it looks like we are, we're just going to roll nicely to the, what you can see is the big sharp red that we are coming ever closer to, and that is absolutely when we are going to see fireworks happen. And I can see there a name who I expect to see doing that is Igor Kops. Yep, big numbers on him I expect to see. He'll be one for the stage date for sure. Top riders probably want to watch for his wheel and try and follow him as we hit those, because I am sure he won't be afraid once we hit that. As we can see, someone is stretching it, and it's causing a bit of response behind, and that's Lundqvist. I don't think he's with a specific team. Maybe he just wants to try and nip off the front as well. RGT Sweden, I'm going to assume that is. So yeah, he's decided to take on the front now and see if he can get some action in here, as we see him hitting high 300 watts, steady 75 RPM. Quite low heart rate there, 135, just steady going across there. As you can see all the red numbers of the guys behind panicking to make sure that they don't let that elastic snap. And you can just see the trail of riders behind as Østergaard takes the front, and he's just hitting that front, not really. I can see him hitting the 3s, 4s. He's not gone over the top in that sort of sense. He's just gone to the front, made sure he hasn't been dropped. As we can see Simonsen at the back there, and these two guys doing what they can just to make sure they get back on into that gap, because the gradient now is only going to go up. As we now, so on the top right hand, you can see, come on Simonsen, We were following him. I think he did, if I remember rightly, a very good 2-up time trial with someone last week, which was great to see. Right now, he doesn't want to be in no man's land before he hit this. So Soderberg off the front, 120 meters. So that little injection of pace from Lundqvist brought it back a little. But now riders are probably going to be jostling towards the front before we get to this red stage, because that's where everything's going to go. As we see him again put a little effort in, nipping off the front again. Maybe he's, well, we'll see how good a climber he is. Maybe he's just wanted to start putting in some distance before we hit those really high reds. You know, good TT riders will probably just want to try and make some distance. But maybe he's just getting that keen as soon as we see pluses on the gradient. So at the bottom, you can see greens pretty flat, not much going on. Similar to when we talk about our heart rates and perceived effort. As you go up that scale into yellows, oranges and then reds, that tells you how steep the gradient is at the bottom, and that kind of correlates to what you see in the top right. At the minute we're at plus 0.2% of a slope, and you can a little bump there, which that's actually well done. I'm surprised that came in, which is great to see. It's that'll be the Laugh Bridge, a famous spot on the TT course that they'd have just crossed over. If you ever pay attention to the TT, you will have seen photos of them going over Little Bridge, because they always take off, as it were, and they always provide great shots. Fortunately, no one jumped or a little bunny hop there, but it tells us that if you're a local, you are coming up to what the climb known as Druidale is. So we're just going to wind our way here, and you will see straight away these numbers go from 0 and we are in the red. So on the top right there, it tells you exactly what percent we are on. So we're on 9.2, 9.9, and this is going to hurt. So Soderberg reeled in very, very quickly there. That's Vesper, who's third, I believe. I'll get my leaderboard out, and he is obviously wanting to make an indent here straight away. So Vesper, yep, he is third, and he's roughly about 35 seconds back from Jan Vanner. So it'd be interesting to see between those two what develops there if Vesper manages to get off the front. As we can see straight away, as soon as we see those numbers go up, people start crowing off the back. Now that may be some people knowing what they can do over this because this first climb is about 3k and it's a lot of red. Rather than try and waste yourself over some of the guys who might be lighter and a bit faster over the top, some guys might just think, right, well, I know what I can do for the next 5 to 10 minutes. I'm going to get to that and stay on that sort of ride your own race up the hill, should we say, rather than following the wheels. Some guys like that, Roy, might know, right, perfect, I'm going to sit at 300 watts and get up this hill. And that may be exactly what he's doing. You don't need to worry about other guys who may be getting a bit too keen and then suddenly blow up after a while. Spin and get yourself up in your own time, with leaving yourself something to give, maybe towards the top, or once you get up to the, all the way on the top after the next climb, you've got all that grease to try and reel some riders in who may blow and go too early, because again, we're not very far into this climb here, with a lot still to go, and this is stringing out as we look at Troy Tompkinson, who's currently sat in 13th with Mylard in front of him, who's going into the red, who is giving a good effort here. So he's going in the red. He doesn't want those numbers, that distance number, should I say, to be increasing here, and he's at about 20 meters there. Oh no, I think well, that was a last ditch. I know he's gone on, stopped us. Whether he knows we just started concentrating on him, he wants to give another last ditch effort, but he went red there, and you could see the numbers went really low. So I think like that, he realised we're still at 11% here. We've got a long way to go. There's no need to go too silly. Keep it steady and get yourself up there. As we can see Soderberg here, with Helveg coming up. Again, Helveg just going through on the red there, putting a little effort in. He'll be doing that just to inject a bit of pace so that Soderberg doesn't jump straight onto his wheel. there's not much drafting or any advantage you're going to get sitting right on someone's wheel when the percentages are at these gradients. So if anything, it's more just to try and make someone feel worse that you're coming past, and basically make them not want to put that effort in and realise you've gone and there's no point. So you put a little dig in and hope that they don't respond. As we can see, Lundqvist followed by Cops on his wheel, and then we've got Vesper, Stimpson and Varner all close to each other. So again, that's interesting there. There's a good group of them all together, probably sizing them out. Like we've said, Lundqvist and Cops aren't actually in the overall, so while yes, absolutely you want to win the stage, Jan might just be marking anyone around him. We've got Jan and Vespers here. As we said, third place with about 35 seconds on to catch Jan. Dan Stimpson, who I can see there, is, yep, there he is. Dan Stimpson is in fourth, and he's, 7 seconds behind Vesper. So he wants to keep Vesper in his sight, and if he can, because he's an R3R dev and Jan in an Opens R3R, I'd expect to maybe see those guys work together, because they say they're first and fourth respectively. Teammates kind of want to help each other out, so if they can get over the top of this together, I'm sure we'll see them two up and help. As I say that, while Dan puts the power in at 20% here, so I knew it really kicks and hurts for a while here. So yeah, this part of the climb is not nice. It doesn't go on for too long, but when you've already been climbing for a good few minutes, and you can see these guys in front of you, so Jan is just seeing them go off in the distance now. So that will be very interesting in the overall, because like we said, the guys in front, it doesn't look like we've got Doug Hart, but Vesper was 35 seconds behind, so that's what he needs. Jan maybe just saving himself again, like we said, we just don't know the tactics, whether he doesn't want to blow too much, but he's not gone too deep in the red, considering what I know Jan's capable of and what he wants to see with Snaver coming past, whether he just wants to try and jump on his wheel. Yet you can see Jan responding just a little on that red, try, and even if it's just mentally get behind the wheel and try and stay with him. Snaver has been in a good few of them, and because I don't see him in the top 10, I believe he must have missed one or two races then, because I know we were commenting on him on the crit, so maybe he's just done one race and has got back involved in this one. I apologise if I've missed you anywhere else, Snaver. Olsen, who is sat in 7th at the minute. So again, there's Lambert there, which is interesting, in 11th. He is currently sat 5th. So these guys, yeah, so there he is, Lambert, currently sat 5th there, and he won't want to see the likes of Olsen going up the road, because he has he's got about, where's Lambert? He's got about 6 minutes, so it's still sizable, but if Olsen can tuck in with a group, we've still got a lot of climbing to go. So who knows, as Roy and Tompkins leaving behind. Come on, Lambert, you really need to give an effort there and get on those wheels, because you're not too far off from the top now, as we are, I say easing off, but we're still at 9% as we watch Mylard here. And go to our top two riders, Lundqvist and Cops. Lundqvist looks like he's the one wanting to set the pace. Cops just quite happy to watch and sit on that wheel. Whether he's just letting him dictate the pace for the first one, and then he might come through and either work on the second one or be a bit cheeky and try and drop him. We'll see what happens between these two. So two very strong riders who I think are going to be trading blows later on for sure. Okay, so we've got some good four-way views here. So top left, we've got our top two, Lundqvist and Cops, with Vesper top right there, who is about 140 meters off them. So he's not out of the realms of catching them if those two do decide to look at each other. Behind, you've got Dan Stimpson, who's in the green at the minute. He's taken this time on the 5% to kind of rest, really. He's got about the 40 meters there, so he's got him in his sight. He's probably just taking a breather because they have gone up all that red It's going to be hurting the legs. That was a it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt the legs. There's no way about it. All these guys will be suffering, knowing that they're just coming up to the crest of this before they can get a bit of rest. Jan and Snever working together again. So just before you crest here, it's always dangerous. Before once you go over the front, you want to get on their wheels before that happens. So if you can get towards the top of the hill, there's a couple of riders there that will be spurring those two on to catch up, and hopefully these guys might make a group of 4, because that would be interesting, having Lundqvist and Kops up the front with potentially 4 riders behind. So come on boys, keep going. If those two there can work together and catch Vesper and Stimpson, that could be a good little group together. Behind them, we can see there's Østergaard, Walker and Lennox quite close as well. So this is what we'll probably end up seeing. Little groups forming, and that's what they want to do. So again, similar to what we saw there, Lennox is just putting a good effort to catch these guys, because once you get over the top of the hill, you want to form little groups. It's going to make life so much easier for you, especially on the downhill. You can recover easier, take that drink and get ready for what you're going to be doing when you have to start climbing again. It's not as bad as what they've just done there, but when you still see all the reds, you're going to be putting an effort. As we can see Olsen there, knowing 50 meters back, he does want to catch. There's a group of 3 here. I want to get on their wheels and take a good rest. So before you get to what you can see on your graph at the bottom, the dark blue tells you that's when you're going to start going down. They want to be together before that happens, as we look and see these guys have grouped up and are now a quartet. Looking at the powers, yeah, Snever's hit the front at 4.4, which is what these guys were doing. Lundqvist there at 4.4 as well. So I expect them to be a bit lower, because they are about to have a nice little downhill section. Rest, recover. They've just done a brilliant effort to get up the top of there, clear of the pack. They've got 400 meters on them. Get that percent going down, get the speed up, and then say that's where you can kind of rest, recover. Every second account, every watt saved is exactly what they're after, because I am sure once they start on the red numbers on the other side, they are going to be going back up into red numbers themselves. So top left, well, you can see that Lundqvist there shows you that he's obviously at 0 power, but underneath that you can see how much watts he's saving. As once you hook onto someone's wheel there, you can see exactly what he's doing. So even though he's gone back down to 0, he's saving 350 watts, which is a great little thing when you are on a pack. It tells you exactly what you're doing, what you're up to, how far away you're from someone. So you can see he's 3.7 meters. He's just going to stick around that level while he's getting a great draft behind him. The red there telling him that he's just getting eased and braked because he's basically up his backside. So rather than touching wheels, great thing RGT tells you, I'm just going to apply a bit of auto brake because you're behind his wheel, and that's exactly what should happen, just as real life. So they've got a little bit of a kick out of this part here as Kops puts the red down, which is what you want to do. You want to carry that speed that you've just built up on that part, because it's only about 30 seconds here, but Kops is still putting that power down 600 meters or so, and Lundqvist just needs to put that effort on for a bit longer than Kops and catch him back up. So hopefully the same doesn't happen here with anyone. Hopefully switched on, have a little look. You can, because as you can see, big blue, and then you can on the graph at the bottom there's a little smidge of red that tells you there is a kick coming. So whenever you see that, usually a small little red line there, it's most people in the pack know, well, I need to put a bit of effort here because I do not want to go out the back of a wheel by not paying attention. And I don't think that was the case with Lundqvist. I think that's just Kops putting in 600 plus watts at fast speed. So I don't think there's not much you could do there unless you were knowing he was going to put that much down. Those boys there are doing the same, as they're all in the red numbers, kicking up over that little kink before they start climbing again. We've got another little group together, which is, how many have we got here? Is that 4? Yeah, Olsen, Østergaard, Walker and Lennox are all together. So they did manage to group up over the top, and they should do exactly the same. So it's great to see little groups forming up here, and that's exactly what they want to be doing, because we hit this little part here. Red numbers will surely come out because they say they want to get up again. Up and over. Roy, unfortunately, is in a bit of no man's land here. Pretty much all he can do now is stick to his pace. I'm sure he knows what he can do. And it's just a case of seeing if any of the 4 guys in front start to crack. Have they put in too much effort on the front part? As Tomkinson's not too far behind there, and that distance will obviously shrink because you are hitting that steep hill that sucks all your speed up and brings you closer. But it's a great motivational part that he was about 100 meters or so, and now he's 40. So as Tompkins is exactly doing, put that extra effort in for another 10 seconds and you can really bring him within sight. And that's what you want to see, as Lambert is doing the same behind. As you can see, Tompkins not far off. And if these guys can kind of form up together as well, there's a nice little group of 3. So Lambert there, as we mentioned before, he's on damage limitation at the minute because he was sat at 5th going into the race. Hopefully he can find a group like that and work together and maybe start catching some of the guys in front. As we see Mylard now, Mylard has 200 meters a road in front and 300 behind, which again we know will change as Helvig comes flying down that short section. There's absolutely no way you do that in real life because these are tiny kind of some very small lanes, cattle gridded area. It's very fast in real life. It'd be nice when you see this to fly down as fast as these guys do, but I certainly won't be doing that because I don't have that switch in my brain that tells me I don't need to brake around these corners, unfortunately. As you see, Sviestra, again, if you're Arthur and Loic behind, group up hopefully and then try and catch up with these guys, because you can see 1s and 2s, they're all unfortunately kind of just dotted around at the minute. There's no real, you've got the guys up in front who are grouped together and it looks like we've just got 1s and 2s here. Simonsen, oh perfect, as Damon finds a little group. Simonsen, Kolzer and Lindqvist all grouped up together, and that's what they want to do, work as a team, especially now. Say you've done the first real test, which is absolutely sap the legs, work together, share the load, and get to the next hill. As we see Giovanni, I assume, well, I say that, I apologize if that's Lovani or Iovani, or whether it is he's continued his name over Giovanni. And Hurst in his good old Buffalo bike, and we see Amra bringing up the rear. And again, like we've always said, is if you are there putting out the work and putting out the effort, of course you're going to get screen time because, well, you've turned up, you're racing, you're putting in the effort, you deserve to be shown on screen and get your name a shout out from myself. Absolutely. So we'll keep going through the pack as we are doing, so keep going guys, all the way to the finish. Cops managed to put some distance here now as he is making his way up to the top of the climb and hits the halfway mark. So we can see 15% here, so it's, yeah, certainly not been flat when we've been hitting these parts, and it's not been an easy ride. So again, 11 and then we'll see hit Lundqvist as he hits halfway mark up to the 15% little kick here. And it's just kind of relentless like this in real life. It'll kick up, it'll ease up a bit, and it'll kick up, as you can kind of see with the colour corresponding at the bottom there. It just kind of step ladders all the way up till you get to the top, and you see that those kind of orange to green numbers, which is exactly all they're thinking about now, is get me up to that top as fast as possible and recover. And preferably I'd like some team or not team members, but some other wheels around me that I can use. As Snaver is putting in a fantastic effort here because he's managing to put a distance in between Vesper, Varner and Stimpson. Whether that's Vesper and Varner looking at each other, again, like we said here, we've got Jan who's sat in first and he has 35 seconds over Vesper. So Vesper's the one really who needs to put the attack in, because Dan Stimpson is 7 seconds behind Vesper, but he might just be marking Vesper until later on, and maybe might try and put an attack in, because it's in his interest to get in front of Vesper, because with Doug Hart out, that's effectively Jan first, Vesper second, Stimpson third. So the podium we've got all together, which is going to be very exciting and interesting to see how that shapes up over the next 16k, because they're all together and there's not a lot of time that separates them. So is Vesper going to be able to get out the front? And Stimpson, well, I'm sure right now will be putting in a lot of effort to make sure he doesn't drop, because he cannot let Vesper out of his sight, and he has his teammate in Jan Vanner there to help him, so he does not want to be the one going out of the back at the minute. Lennox, I think, again, he was a group of 4, so Lennox has gone off the front here from that red section. We've just gone up as we hit our good old 50%er here. He looks like he's been able to gap the guys behind that he was with, as Walker looks like he struggled as well, and Østergaard and Olsen are kind of sat together. Lennox now has 200 meters to see if he can catch the guys in front. It'd be a good effort, absolutely fantastic if Lennox can be able to do that. He's got a lot ahead of him, as Olsen and Østergaard look like they are going through, and judging from their shirts at least, teammates. So Østergaard, I don't believe, was in the top 10 or was done, so he might be there to help Olsen get up the pack and up the order, because we also have Tom Gates, who's done 3 but is not here today, which with Doug Hart actually puts him in 5th, and he does have Lambert in front. So like we said before, it's about 6 minutes he needs, so for Olsen to jump up into about, it could be 4th he's fighting for there. So if he manages 6 minutes on Lambert, but at the minute it's 260 meters where we just see that, so Lambert is ticking over very well, and if he could just keep, that's what he's got to do here, damage limitation. It's going to be absolutely hurting him as he sees that and realizes I'm only halfway, but at least on his screen he can see Olsen. He knows that he's behind him with Gates out, and that he needs to keep him in sight, because there's still quite a fair bit of climbing, but 6 minutes is going to be hard. So unless, I hope that's not Lambert giving up there. Oh no, I'm hoping this isn't some kind of drop out of the worst possible part at 15%. Oh no, come on Lambert. It looks there that might have been a drop out there. Come on, keep going Lambert. What unfortunate timing, right when you're at the steepest part of that climb, and we're talking about how he needs to not lose any. So yeah, that's really unfortunate with Lambert there hitting that worst possible moment, but he's got to get over it, can't get annoyed, he's got to keep cracking on, and like we said, find his pace and keep going. As we see, Soderberg and Helveg hit the halfway point. We've got Helveg there, who came in as 10th today, and we've got his closest one above here, below him actually. So that'll, Helveg's 10th, Herrera's not here, and we then have Roy Neild. So Helveg is 5 minutes behind Roy. So I think it's safe that he won't catch him in the whole standings, but again, absolutely Helveg, keep pushing and see where he may end up at the end of it, because you never know what will happen. Mylard there, 35 meters back, so he has them in their sights, and he's pushing into the red, and he's doing exactly what he should be doing. Get with these guys, push over at the 15%, and just get your legs over this little ramp here and get closer to them as we go up and see cops. So 233 is he has that, but now as you can see at the top, he is on the 93 section. It pretty much stays around this for a good few K now. It's around the 0 to 2% for a good while before we really kind of start descending. As we look back to Svierdstra, putting in the red effort, getting himself again. This is probably the worst part in this sort of section. It's a just a case of getting yourself up onto the next one, and then it'll ease, and you've got another little kick before it eases. And I say, until you see that orange green section, that's exactly what you are trying to get up to as quickly as possible. As we see Kops and now Lundqvist, who is up there as well. 270 meters is his gap, and these two are very good engines, so it would be very interesting to see what happens between these two. And that's all they're going to be doing, like we are on the left hand side. They'll be watching each other's watts per kilo and trying to make sure theirs is higher than the other. Of course, there's relative watts involved in there, but a good thing is that if you know that you're putting out a good sizable amount of watts, more than, at least on your watts per K, there's a good chance you might be there's a good chance you should be catching them anyway. So that's exactly what Lundqvist will be doing here, is realizing that I need to keep putting the pace on in order to catch Kops. But like we said, that's going to be a hard task. As we look back to Sneva, who is a caper, I think it's safe to say that those two are going to be fighting out for first and second. However, the rest of it is still up for grabs. As we look at Sneva there, who has about, I can't see quite, but as it looks, about 150 meters, if I'm guessing right, on Jan. So yeah, thanks to him. Yeah, 150 meters on Vesper, Varner and Stimson. So that's going to be an interesting battle with those three, because like we said, Sneva isn't in the overall standings, it's those three, and it's going to be interesting between them, because Jan is ahead. Vesper has to, if he's going to be aggressive, take it to them and try and attack, whereas Stimson also needs 7 seconds to catch Vesper. So it depends. Stimson may be there for the team there and just being to mark Vesper and help Jan stay those 30 seconds away and happy with the podium, or he might be a bit cheeky and try and nip it off. So there's plenty of road to see what those tactics might, how they might come into play. As we look at Kolza, he's just hitting the halfway mark now on our lovely 15% ramp, with Arthur up in front. And as we see Simonsen, see these all up ahead, and it looks like Arthur's day may be done as he's at 0. So, and that's been that there for a good 10 seconds. So either he's suffered a really bad dropout, either that, or he's been sat waiting for them, waiting for Kolza to work together. I'm hoping that wasn't a dropout, because again, that was a long period. You can see him grind, and there, look at Arthur there, really. That RP at that cadence of 40, wow, that's a low RPM, that run. I can bet his legs will be suffering trying to turn that over on a 15%. That for sure will have hurt him to get going again. So what you want to do is try and jump on Kolza's wheel, form a little group, and say work together to get onto that green section, because that's where it's all going to benefit, being together as a team, is on that draggy flat section, through and off, help each other, rest up, and anyone else whose legs may pop or find themselves on their own, you can always just catch up 1 or 2 places. As we go back to our front man, Kops, who is just, there we go. So yeah, we can see what we at now, about 3. So the gap's going up because we're nearly hitting 400 meters now. So Kops is just getting in his stride. There was that initial kind of attack from Lundqvist, although he's gone back up into the orange. Kops again, brilliant engine, and he always knew that he'd be one contending today. So he's made that gap going up the hill, and it looks like he's, unless we see a real big effort from Lundqvist, I just can't see Kops losing it now. I think he's just going to get in time trial mode. Like we said, watch what Lundqvist's doing, respond to any real red numbers putting out, all that sort. If he looks behind and sees that Lundqvist is putting in a big sprint, then he might match it just to try and keep away. But yeah, Kops is pure 10k to go now, as we're hitting well over 400 watts, which is, he's a monster. He was always going to be tough to beat today. and he will just, I'm sure, sit around that level knowing that, or if you can get to that blue area with a good gap, that's when you can take in a minute or so's rest as you're flying down it before you have your last bit of sprint. So these guys will be concentrating on to the edge of that green area, making sure you've got a good gap before it as we look back at Snaver. So we are now about 100 meters, and Vesper, to be fair, Vesper's on the front. He's putting in a good effort. He's not sat around looking at Varner or Stimpson wondering who's going to do it. So he's here to keep pushing on, which is great to see. Regardless of whether, say, Jan knows that all he has to do is sit on his wheel, and that's realistically the thing. To take the overall series, Varner knows if I just sit on Vesper's wheel, he'll take me to the finish. It's all going to be between, I guess, second and third between Vesper and Stimpson, because there's that 7-8 seconds that separate them. So there's I think it's about 700 meters, the final kick. Is that enough to make 7 seconds between these guys who've climbed very well together? As Snaver waves and realises that they were going to catch him, 1 versus 3 was always going to be tough. And again, it's interesting because those two are wearing the same shirts. I can't tell you if they are on the same team. Actually, I can if I quickly scan. Might be able to. But they're on the same shirts, so if they are and in the same team, that makes this very interesting. Because you've got what's effectively now going to be a 2-on-2 race. Oh, is that unless Damon's telling me that I'm blind and these aren't in the same shirts, but they look like they are. Yeah, they are. Got to be. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. So unless Vesper just likes that t-shirt, and for the sake of commentary and making it interesting, I'm going to say that they may well be and want to work together, which means that it could be a 2-on-2 here if Snaver's here to help Vesper try and get away. Or it could have been, as I said, he realised 1 versus 3 is quite futile with these 3 guys working together. But we'll see. We have 10k to go, and it's gonna, and this is your podium battle exactly here. Four races, and it's all come down to the final 10k, which is absolutely brilliant for us to see, because again, like we said, if you're Varner, you want to sit on Vesper's wheel. If you're Vesper, you've really got to take it to him. And Stimpson, like we said, it's going to be interesting because, like we said, team-wise, yeah, he wants to help out Jan and make sure he covers Vesper, but at the same time, how sweet would it be to end up being 1 and 2 on the podium? So I'm sure that's going through. I'm sure as much as he's going to say, I'm here to help you, Jan, and that's exactly what he is, and part of him will be like, oh, maybe if I do what we get to the last 700 meters, we're all together, Vesper won't make 30 seconds on Varner. Maybe if I put an all-out 700 meters effort, maybe I can just make 7 seconds from somewhere. Who knows? Who knows? We will, because we're about to find out. So these 4 guys working together, which is where the action's going to be. Well, for the podium anyway, but we're not taken away from everywhere else. There are all sorts of mini battles going on, which we've seen throughout the series, which has been fantastic. Is no matter where we've looked throughout the field, there's always something going on in terms of action and tactics and how that may shape up the GC that we've seen today. As Lennox has now well and truly left the 3 guys that he was with previously, and looks like he's 450 meters. If those 4 guys look at each other, then maybe he has a chance if he really goes into those yellow to orange numbers. But 10k to go for him. He's got a long way to go. But it may work in his favour. As I said, if they put the foot off the gas, who knows? As we see Østergaard and Olsen doing exactly what we thought there, a little TT together, come through, help each other, put some time in, because as we said before, Olsen is, and oh, this could be interesting. So Olsen is 7th currently. He has Lambert 6 minutes ahead. So Lambert, as we can see there, is 1.16 behind 1.16k behind. If they TT together, 2 up, then if that gap still grows, I say we still got 10k, and if those two work together and really put some time into Lambert, they could ride Olsen above Lambert. So again, that's a great battle to keep our eye on as well, as we see Roy Neal there, who is sat 1 position behind in 8th, and again he needs to put time into Lambert as well. So if Roy could just somehow put a big effort in and catch up to Olsen and Østergaard and work together, those 3 could be tasty. As we look at Kops, who, although that looks like green, I can assure you to anyone else that will not be green. He will be putting out some decent numbers yet. So green for him is 350 watts, which is just phenomenal. As he is being able to churn that out. As he's starting to descend now, he's on minus 1%, we can see minus 1% roughly. And again, it does still similar to what we did there, where it was 1 to 2 and a bit going up. And once we climbed, this then goes on the other side, about what we'll probably see again, minus 1 to 3, and we can see there 3.4 or so. And it'll steadily do that until we hit the blue, and he can take a tiny bit of recovery before taking the little sting, as we want to call it, up to the finish banner. Lundqvist, and this is taking absolutely nothing away, because from Lundqvist, who's been able to put this effort in, he's, at the end of the day, he is staying behind what is now a group of 4 and keeping them in his rearview mirror, if not increasing it. So although he looks like he's not going to catch Kops, he is still putting in a fantastic effort, absolutely not taking anything away from him here tonight. Our group of 4, so we've got Snaver is the one putting in the effort. So yeah, top left Kops, Lundqvist, bottom left is where we were looking there at our chase group. They're easing, and like we said, Lennox is now 350 meters behind. So if they keep sitting at blue, it means Lennox is only going to come closer. Although it doesn't mean anything for the grand scheme of things, because I think this is Lennox's first event. It's great from jumping in. They won't be looking at anyone else bar each other in this little group here. Because like we said, it's all to play for the series podium with this little group here. We've got Jan, who sits 35 seconds in front of Vespa, who sits 7 seconds ahead of Stimpson. And it is going to be Vespa who needs to find that time from somewhere, surprise them with a big attack, and it's going to be difficult, but I'm sure, as we can see here, it's not like he's just surrendering to being second. He is still putting out an effort, trying and catch them off guard if Jan and Dan are going to just sit on, and he knows that's the case. Yeah, it's going to be tough, because they are watching him. Going off the front at about yellow to orange isn't really going to drop these 2 guys. What he needs to do is really put in a good 30-second all out in the red and see what can happen to try and drop these guys, because I don't think it's going to happen 2-on-1 here. It's going to be tough for Vespa to get away, as we see Østergaard and Olsen working together with Lennox up ahead, and we've got Roy, who's still going for it, still on his own, and he's still chasing him down, because they've got Lambert 1.13, so it's keeping quite similar there, which is interesting. With Roy behind by 100 meters, and I'm sure he is just willing for Østergaard or Olsen to ease up for 30 seconds so he can try and catch them. And he's putting in a very big effort here now, because with 6.5k to go, the profile is downhill for a good section of it. At least, well, all of it bar the 700 meters is going to be downhill. if he can get on their wheels, that's exactly what he wants to do, because they'll take him right to the finish. So it's worth just putting what you can in to see if he can catch, because they're at about, so you can see them dropping to 3 watts, whereas Roy here putting in some big numbers, and hopefully soon, if you can start, usually around 100 meters, you can see them in the distance, which you can see there. So that's even better for his motivation, knowing that now, as soon as you can see them, that's the rabbit, isn't it? That's what he's chasing. Well, the rabbits. That's what he's chasing down now. And if they keep looking at each other, although Østergaard may have just reacted there, hitting in the red, Roy just needs to outlast them. Hope that they do look at each other if they aren't working together, and just hope that he can, because it happened to him the other week. He put in a great effort to get on the back, real big, 1 minute. In the red, really going for it to catch him, and unfortunately, as soon as he did, the pack decided that they were going to attack. So I'm hoping that he's not unlucky again, as Kops hit on that blue, the dark blue section we said, which is a nice free wheel for him. Rest up before you hit these numbers here, because he's going to be soloing to victory, and it's absolutely well earned. The power he was able to put out to drop the guys, then it was him and Lundqvist, and then on the second one managed to put in a gap, and well, as we said, although it looks green for everyone else, he was putting in a great TT effort, kept him well distanced behind, and with 300 meters to go, you can see this little kick we were talking about, which will make things interesting for the groups. And you can see 200 meters to go as we just slightly kick up, which isn't as bad as I first thought when I looked at those reds there. So it's quite false flatty from that there, as we see Lundqvist go under it. You're hitting 2.9%, so you're not really, it's not as bad as the profile kind of looked there. It's 2.93 point there, so it's only just at the end there where it actually kicks, and it doesn't hit 5%. So well done, Igor Kops. Fantastic race and well deserved winner. Well done, Igor. Winner of stage 4 of the final series of our 3-hour Tour of Man. Lundqvist, like I said, absolutely take nothing away from the man to stay away, and he put distance on a group of 4 behind him. He was definitely he wasn't coasting either. He was definitely putting in a really good effort there to stay away from everyone else, and deservedly takes second for the stage. So well done, Lundqvist, as he hits 150 to go. So it looks like it just starts to kick up, and the numbers increase the closer we get, I say that as it goes down, to the line. So again, it's, well, I know what to say. Well done, Lundqvist. Well done. Well deserved second place for the day. So this is where the action is. So it's not as steep as we originally, well, I at least originally thought, where those 7 seconds may come into play. I think it's going to have to be natural. Dan putting in a real big effort, Stimpson, to find 7 seconds from somewhere, because that's quite flat. I think that's going to be real tough. So it could be here. After the 4 stages, we're seeing our 1, 2 and 3 come across. Well, it's definitely going to be our 1, 2 and 3, but it's just depending on what order. I think Jan here can enjoy himself. He's not going to lose 35 seconds now, as it's all downhill, and in that kick, the only thing to be decided is, can Stimpson find 7 seconds somewhere on Vespa? And that's it. Is Jan going to go for third on the day, or is he going to just let those 2 battle it out and not get involved? It's going to be interesting as we hit 1.5k to go. Yeah, I don't know what's. I expect it's just going to be an all-out battle, really. I think everyone realises what's going to happen. Save up and just see what happens. So you can see there, Igor Kops, 54.08, has 1 minute and 2 seconds on Matthias Lundqvist, who are our 2 first and second riders over for today. There goes the 1k banner, as we are hitting our -10%. So that's exactly, we all know what's happening. they've been resting up here because as soon as those numbers start turning into a plus gradient, I would expect the red numbers to go, well, they're doing it even beforehand. So here we go. Who's going to take it? Can there, as Vesper, really? There we go. So is Stimpson going to find the 7 seconds from somewhere? What's going to happen? Or are we going to see 1, 2, or 3? Or Jan wants to finish in style, and there he goes. Oh, there. Oh, go on. Jan Vanner does that. Vesper jumps back on. He's got the wheel there now. He needs Jan to die very quickly, and Vesper's still going. He's putting in the effort. He's clawing that back. That number's coming down and coming down and coming down. He's with 100 meters to go. It looks like Vesper's going to round him. He's going to hold him off, and he's gone round him. Yeah, well done, Vesper. Oh, maybe I spoke too soon. Maybe I spoke too soon again. Wow. It looked like Vesper had come round him, and whether it was just the wind that had him there, that meant once he hit the front, then Jan got the draft and suddenly put in that last ditch effort. Wow, what happened? Dame was going to keep me in suspense there. Yeah, it looked like Vesper had it by the speed he had around. Oh, there you go. How close is that? That must be to the hundredths. So that actually does take it on the line. Oh, that's going to be interesting to see when. I know Damon will show us there, and I congratulate Lennox. Well done there as you finish the line in 7th position. So we'll see the actual timings there, but wow, that was very, very close. As we said there, as Olsen puts the afterburners on, and it looked like Østergaard and Olsen working together because, like we said, Olsen needs about 5-6 minutes. I think it was about 6 minutes. So as our stop hits about 58-54, Lambert needs to get himself home as quickly as possible. And there we go. Royce, fantastic effort. He was on his own all the way up that green section, had Østergaard in his sights the whole time, just couldn't get onto their wheels to recover, but fantastic effort. Roy Neild coming over in 10th. Tompkinson again has been able to he's kept himself ticking over as well. To be fair, he's not let anyone catch him. He's kind of done his own TT as well, which is tough, absolutely, because you've seen all these sort of people grouping up together. It's not lasted a major sort of time, and will roll himself over to come 11th over the line. So caught up in that Vesper Varna, we then saw Dan Stimpson come over in 5th with Jeppe Snever in 6th. Just making sure I cover those guys because I was very invested in how we could split Vesper and Varna, who pretty much crossed the line together, but it looks like from the timing he has just snuck there first by a millimetre, if that. So Lambert and Walker are coming across with 350 metres to go. It looks like Lambert will have done enough to make sure he keeps his spot, which will likely be, he's going to move up to 4th overall. So well done, Lambert was our winner. Well, yeah, he's won a stage here with a great sprint where he came through absolutely flying through the pack from the back and used the slingshot to take the win. So he will finish in 13th behind Walker, who put in a really good sprint there. And as we come back to Soderberg and Helvig was our 10th on the day, but will move up with the riders who didn't make today's stage. And Soderberg, who has been there to help him, and these guys working through together. As you take that corner and realise when the numbers come up, you'll see the banner corner and be thanking whoever you need to finish this stage. And say the amount of green on the course is deceptive, because I'm sure all that red will have hurt the guys immensely, and they'll be very happy to see this banner here with 200 meters to go. Helvig putting the power down. Is Soderberg going to be able to respond to him? That gap is growing. It's gone to 8 to 10 meters. 11. I think Helveg is putting on the power hours as he comes. Nope. Oh, and again, there you go. It's not over till you cross the line. I know Helveg was still going, but well done Soderberg there to keep going and take 14th on the day with Helveg and 15th respectively. There you can see there. So 11th, Troy Tomkinson. 12th, Neil Walker. 13th, Francis Lambard, as we just saw there. 14th will be Soderberg. 15th, Helveg, as we look at Spierster, who will be our 16th. Okay, and who have we got next coming across? Okay, so we got Maillard coming across, who should look like the distance behind. He is going to end up in 17th, as we can see here. With this blue, it's absolutely just rest up. Spin, recover, because you've been putting in that effort for the whole stage. It's nice to see in the distance that red banner coming, knowing that you haven't got far to go. Because behind him we've got Arthur and Colza, who are 2.5. Well, it's like 2.5 3K to go, so he knows he's not going to get caught. And we are going to see Maillard off to the finish. Okay, so it looks like there we're going to end up with Maillard 17th, Arthur 18th, Coles 19th, and Simonsen to round out our top 20, it looks like, from the distances there. And as we can see a couple more, Giovanni 21st, Dusan 22nd, and Hurst 23rd, and Amra 24th. So all the guys absolutely fantastic. They are still going. It's just a shame, I say, when they probably got up to the top, they've realised that there's anyone near them that they're going to be able to catch, and they've had to do that effort all themselves. So even more congratulations to these guys to still keep going after all that effort. Absolutely fantastic to see as we watch Maillard come up. 50 meters to go to take 17th on the day. Well done, Maillard. So as we have a look up the top, so let's see our results. Or are we looking at Scenic? Okay, so there we go. As we can see there, our overall standings here. So Eagle Cops 54.08 with a gap to Matthias Longfist, and there we can see on that there Careless Vesper. So it was 0.007 that split. And say you couldn't call it, I couldn't call it because I had no idea what happened when Vesper came through, and it looked like Varner then put in a last ditch with about 20 meters to go and thought he might have took it, but Vesper just did enough to hold on. However, that does mean that Varner will take the overall win, so congratulations to him, with Vesper taking second overall and Dan Stimpson managing to come third. I'll have to check on everything, but from what we were calculating, that means Lambert was fourth, and I think Olsen fifth, with Roy being sixth out of the top of that, from what I can see off the top of that. So firstly, thank you to everyone who's still watching. More importantly, thank you to everyone who has joined any of the 4 races over the series, and especially to everyone who turned up for all 4 of them. It's been great commentating my first little go at it, so I apologise you've had to bear with me through these 4 stages. It's been great being this side of the screen, should we say, and getting involved with it. So thank you very much, and thanks to everyone who's watched, followed, commented, jumped in, or done anything relating to this, and especially thanks to Damon behind the screen, who's been helping me throughout the whole thing. So, and yep, thank you very much to everyone involved, and you may see me you won't see me, but you may hear me behind the mic at some point again in the near future. So and hopefully see you on the next one.